Welcome to Eye on the Tigers News. I'm Alyssa Greco.
And I'm Kennedy Lamb. Thanks for joining us again. Here's the news we're following for you. The weather remains the big story more than 72 hours after the flakes began to fall. Reports continue to come in of snowfall totaling nearly 6 feet in areas surrounding Buffalo and nearly 5 feet just an hour north of Mexico near Watertown. 12 deaths have been attributed to the Lake Erie snow, and Governor Cuomo announced Wednesday that a state of emergency would be in effect. Twitter was inundated with photos from stranded motorists on the New York State Thruway, as well as from residents who were dealing with snowdrifts that approached 10 feet. And the highway remains closed from exit 46 to the Pennsylvania line. Several reports describe windows and doors from resident homes collapsing from the pressure of the snow. And the lake effect snow, which has taken most of today off, is about to resume. Let's bring in Andrea Ross early to give us some details about what we can expect locally.
Thanks, Kennedy. Certainly, a lake effect storm of this magnitude this early in the season is basically unprecedented. However, storms off Lake Erie are more prominent early in the winter season since the smaller lake has not yet frozen over. But still, snow totals of more than 6 feet is impressive. We've been on the sidelines, so to speak, while our friends to the North Country continue to dig out. We got in the game to some extent overnight with snow totals nearing 10 inches, forcing the district to delay school by 2 hours. Temperatures remain well below normal before we see some more changes coming again this Sunday. Temperatures will rise to near 50 for Sunday and Monday, which could cause some flooding issues for those hardest hit by the lake snows. In fact, the major concern around the Buffalo area is trying to remove snow before the rain and warmer weather makes the snowpack too heavy to move, and then there's the risk of collapsing roofs under the enormous weight. Back to you, Alyssa and Kennedy.
Spurning furious Republicans, President Barack Obama unveiled expensive executive actions on immigration Thursday night to spare nearly 5 million people in the U.S. illegally from deportation and refocus enforcement efforts on felons, not families. The moves affecting mostly parents and young people mark the most sweeping changes to the nation's fractured immigration laws in nearly 3 decades and set off a fierce fight with the Republicans over the limits of presidential powers. In a televised address to the nation, Obama defended the legality of his actions and challenged GOP lawmakers to focus their energy not on blocking his measures, but on approving long-stalled legislation to take their place.
For more than 200 years, our tradition of welcoming immigrants from around the world has given us a tremendous advantage over other nations. It's kept us youthful, dynamic, and entrepreneurial. It has shaped our character as a people with limitless possibilities. People not trapped by our past, but able to remake ourselves as we choose. But today, our immigration system is broken, and everybody knows it. And let's be honest, tracking down, rounding up, and deporting millions of people isn't realistic. Anyone who suggests otherwise isn't being straight with you. It's also not who we are as Americans.
A project that would move oil from Canada into the United States and eventually to the Texas Gulf Coast was voted down by the U.S. Senate late Tuesday by a single vote. The Keystone Pipeline legislation did pass the House. Supporters say the project would create jobs and ease American dependence on Middle East oil. A government environmental impact statement also predicts that a pipeline would result in less damage to the climate than moving the same oil by rail. Critics argue that the drilling itself is environmentally harmful, and said much of the Canadian crude would be exported with little or no impact on America's drive for energy stability. Both houses are expected to take up the measure again in January, and is expected to pass in the newly controlled Republican Senate. It's still unclear if President Obama would sign the bill into law.
President Barack Obama called on local school officials Wednesday to help meet his goal of bringing high-speed internet to virtually every student within a few years to help American children compete with counterparts in countries that already use technology to help them learn. Currently, fewer than 40% of U.S. public schools have high-speed internet connections in their classrooms. By way of example, Obama said South Korea is replacing all textbooks in its school with digital content and training its teachers on how to use technology in the classroom.
Let's bring in Nathaniel Schrader, who has an update on what this storm is doing to the NFL.
Well, that lake effect mess in Buffalo may take its toll on part of the NFL schedule this weekend. The Bills are scheduled to take on the Jets Sunday at 1, but as of Friday morning, more than 4 feet of snow covering the Orchard Park Stadium forces the rescheduling of the game. The game will be played Monday in Detroit. The Bills offered people $10 an hour and free tickets to help dig the stadium out. The state police continued to ask people to stay off the roads as another 2 feet of snow is already to pound the area today. The NFL Players Union wants the league and its owners to take disciplining players out of the hands of Commissioner Roger Goodell. Already at odds over the process used to punish Ray Rice, the dispute heightened Tuesday when the league suspended Vikings running back Adrian Peterson for the rest of the season for using a wooden switch to discipline his 4-year-old son. The central issue remains the same for both sides, finding a way to fairly hold players accountable for the transgressions that damage the credibility and the image of the league and its players. The union wants disciplinary power, now held by Goodell, to be handled by a neutral arbiter. SU Hoops suffered their first loss of the season at the hands of the California Bears last night at Madison Square Gardens, 73-59. Leading scorer Rakeem Christmas was held only 8 points before fouling out. SU will take on Iowa this afternoon at 5 as the NBA 2K tournament finishes up.
2-0 Syracuse taking on 2-0 Cal in the 2K Classic semifinal. That's a lot of twos. The Orange get off to a fast start off the opening tip. Rakeem Christmas flushes the alley-oop dunk, and Syracuse takes the lead. Still early, freshman Chris McCullough with the drive, the spin, and layup. McCullough would finish with 12 points and 6 rebounds. But how about a little defense? The Duke transfer Michael Benajay with the steal and breakaway dunk. Syracuse up 1, but Cal would heat up from long distance. Jabari Bird pours it in. 1 of 5 threes in the first half for Cal. The Golden Bears led by 12 at the break. Second half action, the Orange looking for a comeback. Trevor Cooney with the anticipation and the elevation. But would it be enough? Syracuse out on the break. Benajay feeling it, pulls up for the 3, and it's good. The Orange down only 12, and the Garden is getting loud. But Cal still hot from deep. Jordan Matthews hits the corner 3, 16-point lead at that point. And even more from Matthews, he couldn't stop, this time the contested 3. He led Cal with 22 points, 8 threes for the Golden Bears as they score the upset over number 23 Syracuse. 73-59 Cal. I'm Courtney Cox, and you're watching the ACC Digital Network.
Jason Collins, the first openly gay man to play in the NBA, announced Wednesday his retirement from the league. The 35-year-old Collins made the announcement in first-person story for Sports Illustrated. It's the same forum he used in April 2013 to publicly reveal his sexuality and become the first openly gay man in any of the 4 major North American professional leagues. He joined the Brooklyn Nets in February and played 22 games for the team, but it was not on the roster this season.
With a look at the calendar, here's Abby Garrett.
Don't forget The Odd Life of Timothy Green will be shown on the big screen in Mexico High School's auditorium tonight. Admission is only $1. The school's Friends of Rachel Club is sponsoring. Also, you have to make plans to head out to the middle school Saturday for the Lego competition. Teams of elementary and middle school aged kids from all over the state are taking part. The competition portion begins around noon. We'll also live stream the event on our Ustream channel beginning at noon. We remind you once again that if you're planning on donating blood for the annual Red Cross drive, paperwork needs to be submitted to Mr. Deckman. The drive takes place on Monday the 24th. And of course, looking to next week, we'll have classes on only Monday and Tuesday before leaving for Thanksgiving break.
With today's history lesson, here's Sarah Petricola.
On this day in history, on November 21st, 1877, inventor Thomas A. Edison unveiled the phonograph. In 1973, President Richard Nixon's attorney revealed the existence of an 18.5-minute gap in one of the White House tape recordings related to Watergate. In 1980, a fire at the MGM Grand Hotel Casino in Las Vegas killed 87 people. In 1995, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed about 5,000 for the first time. And in 2000, the Florida Supreme Court granted Democrat Al Gore's request to keep the presidential election recount going.
That's it for us today. Thanks for being with us. For the staff of Eye on the Tigers, I'm Kennedy Lamb.
And I'm Melissa Greco. Have a great day.